Hello everyone, welcome back to Soccer Showdown. Joe Archino and Martino Puccio here with you as always, getting right into things. Ronaldo, he is the recipient of the FIFA Best Male Player Award. And I think obviously, Martino, it's another trophy in his cabinet. He was great last season. Champions League winners with Real Madrid. They won La Liga for the first time in a long time. Messi, I think, is the only other comparable player. Neymar was also in the conversation. But as always, it's the two best players in the world. It's between them. Let's look at the numbers a little bit behind of what they won at the club level from an individual level. Ronaldo participated in 37 matches. Messi was in 46. Goals, Ronaldo had 33, Messi had 46. And then assists, Ronaldo had 6, Messi had 13. So obviously, Ronaldo had a lot of success at the club level, more than Messi last season. To you, is that the reason you think that he took home this another trophy?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a precedent that's been set for years. I mean, you look at all the years that Messi's won a Ballon d'Or or Player of the Year. It's when Barcelona's had success, they've won the Champions League and they won La Liga too. And I think that Cristiano just stepped up in the biggest moments this past year too. I mean, he was phenomenal against Atletico in the Champions League, and then he played definitely by far, in my opinion, his best final. Champions League final. And I think that really set him apart because, I mean, like I said, the precedent's been set. He's been the best player on the best team, and I know the goals don't stack up the same, but there was a lot more options at Madrid as to why they went back-to-back, opposed to Messi just having Neymar and Suarez most of the time. So I think that's where the disparity came from, and that's why we're here again with Ronaldo winning another trophy.
I do want to get to this point. You know, he's 32 years old. I think we always are kind of wondering, you know, once you start to climb up there into your 30s, when do we see that decline? We have never seen a decline in Ronaldo. All we've known is him being the best in the world, one of the best in the world, whatever you want to say. When do you think we're going to start to see that gradual decline? Again, 32 years old, he's only getting older.
I don't know. I think it's one of those things that you just got to say he's on the decline when you actually see it. I mean, the proof is in the pudding most of the time. If he's not scoring goals, if he's not running as fast and beating guys on the wing, then you could say, okay, this is the beginning of the end. But we've seen athletes across the globe be able to stretch out their careers for a long period of time. I mean, look how quickly Zlatan's been able to come back from a torn ACL at his age. He's in his mid-30s, and Cristiano's in the best shape probably out of any player in the world. So I don't really see that happening anytime soon, and I think Zidane's really been smart about how much he plays him and the amount of time he plays, because they don't need him to play that much. They only need him to play in the big games, and that will elongate his career. So I think he's in a really good spot, and I think it'll be a couple years before we start to see a real decline.
It has been nothing but fun to watch Ronaldo during this time, just like this next club, and that is Manchester City, who has known nothing but domination so far this season. In the Premier League so far this season, Man City has been just remarkable. They have 9 wins, 1 draw, undefeated, 33 goals scored, the cream of the crop of the Premier League so far this season. And then not just that, but they are unbeaten in 14 games across all competitions. So it's not just been in the Premier League, it has also been in the Champions League and other competitions. And then, of course, the questions always come up, can they go unbeaten this season in the Premier League? And Pep Guardiola was very quick to dismiss that talk. He basically said, it's too difficult, we play in too many matches, it's not going to happen. But I think when we look at this team, Archino, last season they were in a similar spot. They started the season on an 11-match unbeaten run. This season it's gone a little bit longer than that, but last season they seemed to hit a wall after they got off to that great start. To you, what's different about City this season, and do you think that they're going to continue to maintain this level of play all year?
I actually think so far this season, out of any team in the top 5 leagues, they've played the best. And I think it's a testament to Pep having a second year at the club now. He's really getting his feet wet. Players like Gabriel Jesus, it's his first full season. Kevin De Bruyne has really elevated his game. And you even see with Sergio Aguero, it's a mainstay in the club. And they really solidified the back. And that's what we've always talked about. It's something that they needed to solve. They got the better defenders with Otamendi and Kyle Walker and Ederson in goal over the years. And I don't think this is a fluke. I don't think they're going to hit a wall like they did last year. And to undefeated, I mean, it is too difficult. I understand where he's coming from there, because in the long run, it's nice to win the league, but you want to go after the Champions League. And I think that's ultimately why City brought Pep there in the first place, and I think that's what's going to be their goal on top of winning the Premier League. So I really love where they're at, and I think they're playing the best out of anybody right now.
They have the defense to do it this season, and we'll certainly see how they continue to play and shape up. But our next segment, we have a massive clash once again in Serie A. Now, it's kind of more of a historical clash we have because there is a big discrepancy between where these two clubs are in the rankings. But this weekend, we have AC Milan taking on Juventus. Martino, you know AC Milan as well as anybody. 8th place right now. Juve's in 3rd place, but I want to focus a little bit more on AC Milan right now before we get into what we think is going to happen this weekend, because it has been a difficult start. And look, I don't think any of us expected them to skyrocket to 1st place, but a lot of money was put into this club. A lot of new players were brought in. Certainly, there's got to be a lot of pressure right now based on the way things have not gone so well so far.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, it was a real difficult project for Vincenzo Montella to take on. Not only were they getting 11 new guys, there were a lot of guys who were relatively young. They have one of the youngest teams in the top 5 leagues in Europe, the youngest one in Serie A. So it's going to be difficult for them to play catch-up. Over $200 million worth of signings. They haven't solidified an exact formation and to get the right players in there to develop a continuity and a chemistry. And it's kind of like what we talked about with City just before. I know there's a talent level difference, and Milan's not on an 11-win run. They're in the most difficult spot. They picked up the win today, but it's just you could see a moment in certain teams where they just figure it out in the middle of a game. And even with today's 4-1 win, I just personally didn't see it. And I think it's going to take time. And it has nothing to do with talent, in my opinion. There's just fundamental flaws that they keep making. There's the wrong passes at the back. They keep making dangerous passes there. They're losing their man marking, especially Bonucci in the Inter derby. Mauro Icardi, the most dangerous striker arguably in the league, is wide open in the box. That's fundamental. That has nothing to do with chemistry. That has to do with you being in the spot that you need to be in to prevent a goal so you guys can get some points. And this is the teams are off to great starts. Inter's off to a great start. Juve, who we're talking about right now, it's just the bigger the hole they get into, the more difficult it's going to be. And Champions League is very important because they need that money coming in because they took out a bunch of loans and they need to pay off those loans. So if Champions League isn't there, this might be a bigger problem than a lot of people think.
Now, Juventus, on the other hand of things, they're in 3rd place, and I think they certainly look like they're in for a bigger fight to win the Scudetto this season than they have been in a long time. It seems like Napoli and then Inter are really giving them a hard time right now. But again, Juve is only in 3rd place. Another win like this could help them get their confidence back and climb back up to the top of Serie A. But again, we know that AC Milan, they're not gunning for the top right now, but they are looking to get back on track, start to build some momentum. So what are you expecting from this weekend? Are they going to show more life? Is Juve going to start to get their groove back? What do you think?
Well, I think both teams aren't playing to the capabilities at all. I mean, Bonucci's not going to be playing in this game, so we're going to have to wait for the rematch back at the J Stadium. So he's not going to be here this weekend. But I just think Juve's attack is way too good for Milan right now. I mean, Milan, like I was saying, there's too many defensive flaws. They're playing at 3 in the back. Ricardo Rodriguez is a natural left back. That doesn't bode well, okay? He was playing 3 in the back at Wolfsburg last year. They were almost relegated. So it's obviously not a position he's comfortable in. All these young guys are getting adapted to this. I know they played well against Juve last year. They beat them in the Supercopa. They beat them at home. But it's just a different animal with this attack, and I just don't see how Paulo Dybala isn't going to be able to put at least 2 past this squad. Because as of right now, I just don't see it. Regardless if it's a rivalry game and they play each other tough, Mauro Icardi still put 3 past them, and it was a tight game. So I just see this happening, and Milan doesn't do well in adversity. They don't respond well when they go down a goal. So if Juve scores early, it's over early.
You mentioned an interesting point where you don't think Juve's kind of played up to what they're capable of right now. Paulo Dybala might just be the only player on that club who has played up to his level of expectation so far. But we'll certainly see this weekend, and that is all we have for you on this episode of Soccer Showdown. As always, everyone, Joe Archino and Martino Puccio here. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back soon.